said it to each other, talk to the board, be respectful. Who's first? Nobody? We'll move on to business. Road commission contracts.
This is for the signing of those, today's date, so they incorporated in the budget. We all agreed on these. They are for the brine, the limestone, Gate Road, Brown Road, and Peterson did not go through, they're not gonna do it. And then we still have Black Ledge and Bird Lake, Bird Lake from last year that we signed, so they're gonna be incorporated in there. So, Jason will start with you, pass them down.
Okay, next are gonna be the resolutions for the board salaries. I'll start with, clerk. At a special meeting of the Adams Township Board of Adams Township, Hillsdale County, Michigan, held at Township Hall, 5675 Knowles Road, North Adams, 49262 on Friday, the 21st day of March 2025 at 10 a.m. Present is Jason Griffiths, Dan Shaddy, Randy Johnson, Susie Roberts, and David Cumber. Jeez, brain is not working. The following preamble and resolution were offered by me, and supported by, whereas according to MCL 41-95(3), in a township that does not hold an annual meeting, the salary of the officers composing of the township board shall be determined by the township board, and whereas the township board deems that an adjustment in the salary of the office of clerk is warranted, now therefore be it resolved that as of April 1st, 2025, the salary of the office of the clerk shall be $17,756.68. I need to take a vote onto this.
Roll call, Jason?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Myself, yes.
Actually, I think, and myself, yes, and
Yes.
okay, resolution is declared adopted. Next. At a special meeting of the Township Board of Adams Township, Hillsdale County, Hillsdale, Michigan, held at the Township Hall, 5675 Knowles Road, North Adams, Michigan, 49262, on Friday the 21st day of March, 2025 at 10 a.m. Present is Jason Griffiths, David McCumber, Susie Roberts, Randy Johnson, and Dan Shedd. Preamble and resolution were offered by Randy Johnson, supported by the following board. Whereas, according to MCL 41.953, in the township that does not hold an annual meeting, the salary of officers composing the township board shall be determined by the township board, and whereas the township board deems that an adjustment in the salary for the office of supervisor is warranted, now therefore be it resolved that as of April 1st, 2025, the salary of the office of supervisor shall be $6,300.64. Be it resolved that so long as the supervisor acts as the zoning administrator, he shall receive an additional salary of $4,996 per year. This also takes a roll call.
Jason,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
myself, yes.
Resolution declared adopted. At a special meeting of the Township Board of Adams Township, Hillsdale County, Michigan, held at the Township Hall, 5675 Knowles Road, North Adams, Michigan, 49262, on Friday the 21st day of March 2025 at 10 a.m. Present was Jason Griffiths, David McCumber, Susie Roberts, Randy Johnson, and Dan Shedd. The following preamble and resolution was offered by Randy Johnson, supported by the board. Whereas, according to MCL 41.953, in a township that does not hold an annual meeting, the salary for officers composing the township shall be determined by the township board. And whereas the township board deems that an adjustment in the salary for the office of treasurer is warranted, now therefore be it resolved that as of April 1st, 2025, the salary of the office of treasurer shall be $15,528.50. And this also takes a roll call vote.
Jason, yes. David,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Dan, yes. Or excuse me, Dan,
Yes.
Susie, yes.
Resolution declared adopted. At a special meeting of the Adams Township Board of Adams Township, Hillsdale County, Michigan, held at the Township Hall, 5675 Knowles Road, North Adams, Michigan, 49262, on Friday the 21st, day of March 2025 at 10 a.m. Present, Jason Griffiths, David McCumber, Susie Roberts, Randy Johnson, and Dan Shedd. The following preamble and resolution was offered by Randy Johnson, supported by the board. Whereas, according to MCL 41.953, in a township that does not hold an annual meeting, the salary for officers composing of the township board shall be determined by the township board. And whereas the township board deems that an adjustment in the salary for the office of trustee is warranted, therefore salary for the office of trustee shall be $1,569.69. This also takes a roll call vote.
Jason? Yes. David?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Randy?
Yes,
Dan?
Yes.
Okay.
the resolution is adopted.
I have one question. My packet has a resolution for cemetery sexton as
We
well.
don't need to do that, she's not on the board.
Perfect, thank you.
All right,
Budget.
moving on to the budget. This is the preliminary budget worksheet.
Okay, the set taxes that we received were $4,035. We didn't have any before. We received 0 in 23-24. So I'm going to put in the 4,000. They just told me that that's a category that will be used. Other than that, on this page, license and permits, site tax, cable franchise fees, dog licenses, those will all remain the same. The actual on licenses was $270. We had $435. Cable franchise was $45, $41.39. We had $46.85.18. Dog licenses were $36. We have $36. State revenue share, we still have one more. Is that correct?
Yep, got one coming in April.
One more in April. We are at 200,603 actual. We'll leave that at 204,740. And the windmill. Do we have?
That windmill is a personal property, so we have put on those, it just rolled up into, it's just a township tax and admin fee, there's no special.
So I can take that out.
Yeah. I don't know, I think it's like that years ago.
I don't know. Interest, this is on the general fund, interest and dividends. We have collected, these are rollovers of CDs included. We, with the Michigan class, moving the money, David has increased dividends and interest greatly. We have received $46,442.07. We will be increasing that to a total of $53,000, as we still have payments left that we won't actually know until in a month. Down on Metro Act, we have that set. We have actual at 1256.51. We're going to decrease that to a total of 2,000 to come in because David has adjusted that also. Those are the revenues. On expenditures, everything from the trustee salaries are the same. They're divided out by what they actually net. The FICA information in there is now correct. Other than that, everything came in pretty much. Computer software maintenance, we know we have another bill coming in. We're going to leave that at $5,500. Attorney fees are less because of the way we pay him. He only does it by so many months. We're going to leave that at $49.03. Communications, the telephone bill was quite a bit higher on this. Notices we had to give. And so it came in at 31, actually it's 31.50. So far, we're at 27, we're gonna add another 1,000 to that because with the calls going in and out during elections are heavy. On FICA, we're correcting that. We need to add 114.84 to that due to the increase in salaries. And supervisors are now corrected again, net and FICA added together equals your yearly. Same with zoning, same with clerk. The treasurer is as it is correct, we'll just bring that forward. Deputy treasurer, we are going to have, we're at 560.10, we originally set that up at 250, we're gonna add 350 to that, as we are also adding to printing tax notices. The very bottom, because we're actually printing them outside, we had set up 4,000. Printing tax notices came in at 63.57.57. We're gonna add 2,500 to that.
Okay.
Assessor salary remained the same. Elections, we will leave the same at 14,525, because we're not sure if we're gonna have, we've got one now, which will be just postage, we don't know what the next ones are gonna be. The only thing under building and grounds that we're going to change is the Moyne of the Township property. It's going up $3, or $300, so we're adding the $300 into that. Corrections on the cemetery, the FICA is the 152.04 from 151.98, so we're gonna change that. Transfers to North Lawn Cemetery, we actual was 18,000. We had set up 16, we're gonna add 2 to that, 2,000 to that. Fire department, that came in at the same at the 24.8. Drains and sewer, we had set up 6,000, it's gone, our actual was 65,1276. We'll add 520 to that. On roads, including the ones that we just signed and the roads that we had, Bird Lake and Black Ledge, we have set up right now for $165,777. We're going to add $23,916. And that'll make it a correction to what we have outstanding on that. The chlorine is fine. Last year it was 142.94. This year it's 19.8. We have it set up for 22.27. Transfer station. We have actual of 6,925.22. That's due to the increase of the dollar for the per bag at the transfer station. So we have set 5,000, we're going to add 3,000 to that. Because that happened in the middle, I think it was in June. Zoning and planning board of review, we are going to leave those as they are, 3,200. Insurance and bonds was $8,388. That was our actual cost. That's your accident fund and Decker insurance. That is going up the total between both of $380. So we're going to raise that. Nothing on Parks and Rec. Okay, cemetery on revenues. On burial fees, we have received $7,135. Budget preliminary is $700. I'm going to add $500 to that because I have a bill right now. I know that I need to pay them. Foundation charge is the same. Our actual was $4,022.40. The preliminary is $3,112. We're going to add $1,000 to that. Lot sales are in conformity. Our actual was $61.50. We had set the preliminary is $63.25. And the transfers in on from the general fund to the cemetery, we was originally 18,000, as I said before, we set 16,000 up, we're gonna add 2,000 to that. Burials came in at 7,650, we have 7,900 set up. Foundations completed, really that, there's like a $500 difference. Mowing contract is the same as what it was, plus the 300 that we added previously, so we're gonna add that. All the rest we're gonna leave the same for snow removal, tree trimming, water well and pump, tractor supplies, grass and gravel. Okay, tax collections, as David explains, it's not really a budget on this. The only thing we know for sure is because of the Michigan class, the gain in interest, our interest was actually $6,058.42. We had set up 300 because we didn't have Michigan class, it was just sending accounts. We're gonna add 6,000 to that. And the last one is David still is collecting taxes for expenditures, counties and whatnot.
Right.
We still have payments left on that. So those corrections I will be making, and then we should be all set.
Cool. Good deal. Any questions? Comments?
I'm really happy with this Michigan class, it's making us a ton of money. And doing the CDs in 7 months is gaining us additional funds also.
Yeah, I'm happy about that.
Yes.
All right. No questions, comments from the board? Moving on.
Do we need a vote to accept the
Not
changes?
yet.
All right.
Do we? No. Yeah, we'll take one anyways. Let's just do it anyway. Entertain a motion, accept changes.
A motion?
I'll second.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
That'll be taken care of.
Yes. I'll get it out.
Public comment. Same as before.
When will that be available to us?
As soon as I get everything in, it's a very slow process to put your different figures in. I'm hoping that I have it by Wednesday. It just depends on if everything works the way it should.
Anybody else?
What are the assets that the township is sitting on? How much funds are we managing? Are you managing?
David?
Yeah, I think that work. Yeah, so like roughly, Stephanie, from last month of February, like one, current tax is out there. Like 1.4, no, I'm sorry, 85,000 on current tax. 1.2, and that includes the current tax that had the 85,000 in there for like, obviously I got paid at schools, kind of stuff there, so.
To 1.2 million?
Yeah,
Is
around
what
numbers,
you're
yeah.
Are managing?
That's the taxable values.
No, that's just the investments, the CDs and stuff, any money markets.
Just the township assets.
Oh, assets. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Thanks.
Anybody else?
I was gonna say, I noticed you didn't talk about, how is it worded in there? Notification. The property tax millage rate. So that would be your property tax money coming in. You guys did talk about it, discuss it, pass it, vote on it, keep it
I would
millage
say
the
that we would
same,
keep it the same.
even though you're sitting on $1.2 million.
We still have a lot of roads to do.
Yeah, but I think the constraint on that's the road commission, not the budget for us. But I think you guys have to vote on that anyway, don't you?
They're running the show.
And it was part of your public notice, but I noticed it's not on the agenda, so you're gonna have to.
It's not the
that
public
anyway.
notice.
Huh? Yeah, it is. It's part of the budget.
Does anyone want to raise it?
I would hope not.
She really don't.
Zero.
Then
That should
we
be zero.
zero.
Jason voted one time to put it down to zero, but you guys copied that, didn't change it. But I think you have to have another meeting on that. So your notice that property tax millage rate proposed to be levied to support the proposed budget will be subject of this hearing. But I think you
I
have to.
didn't have to put that out there. So we should do that.
Well, we'd have to amend the budget, or the.
Let's amend it again.
Amend the agenda to what, had what?
To add millage rate. Motion.
Your motion? I'll second.
Okay,
The same thing.
motion to amend the budget for the millage rate. Susie made the motion, seconded by Jason. Motion made and seconded, all in favor? All opposed. Agenda budget,
Millage rate.
no, we adjusted.
Do you amend the agenda or the budget?
We amended the agenda. Now, we will talk about the budget and the millage rate. Are you wanting to change the millage rate?
No.
All right, so motion made to leave the millage rate the same? Is that what you want?
If it keeps going up every year, we might think about adjusting it. And if we see everyone's property taxes are going up, I know that.
Yeah, mine went up too. I'm not saying it's right, but if, like Jason told me when I did question him about it, you know, and he said he could have taken it up more. I said, no, don't take it up more. Leave it alone. So everybody went up 3.1%. Everybody.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry. Could you repeat what you just said, what Jason had told you?
Told me it could have gone up higher. It could have gone as high as 8%.
On the increase of property value?
Taxes that, you know, the increase, which is now 3.1%.
You're talking the assessed value, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's different than the property tax.
Right, but it's still, everybody's taxes went up, and when I asked him, you know, about it, he said that, that was the rate that it could go up. He put it up, so, at 3.1.
The assessed value.
Yeah.
But the township still has the ability to reduce the taxes
We
by
do.
putting the millage down to zero, which I would make the case sitting on the asset level that you are.
No.
There's no need to keep taxing the residents.
When I came in here, we had 1.5 million, we're down to 1.2.
Because
I see absolutely no reason to keep it if we're going to continue to pay the money.
How
Well,
many years of operating expenses is the board, should the board have on hand? Do you know what the general rule is?
No,
General rule is, there's no state law that requires you to have a percent-wise. The normal out there is between 10 to 15, 20%, just depends on how big a township you are wise. So the normal, at my other job is normally 10 to 20%, highest 30% based on how big of, you know, expenses that you got going up. Your fire department, or police department, so forth, but so the general rule is being 15 and 20 to 30% wise.
Oh,
That's the,
of the annual budget, is that what you're saying?
of the annual budget, yeah. That's
So
the
our
big-
annual is what, about 300,000? 350?
Yep.
So that would only put in reserves 90-ish thousand. So that would make our township about 100,000. And we've got 1.4 in reserves, 1.4 million in reserves?
Right. It didn't happen overnight. I mean, previous boards had that same amount back in your day.
I was told 2 to 3 years of operating expenses when I was sitting there. That's quite a bit higher than you were saying 10% of annual operating.
Of your fiscal, of your gross, right, like operating in there for a year, but again, everybody does things differently there.
Right. But by your standards, 100,000 in the account, we've got 1.4 million dollars in the account. And nobody wants to think about adjusting property taxes for the residents? Interesting.
What is the current, maximum millage that you can call for?
I'd have to get the form out, because we're not quite at the end of the month yet, so I haven't gotten anything from, the equalization, I haven't gotten anything yet, so I really don't have that information.
I guess I question whether you're working for the people of Adams Township or you're working for an agenda in the state of Michigan, which is to tax people to the max so as to confiscate property. And that's the agenda that's coming down from the state of Michigan into the county, and I'm sure that it's being told to you as well. And I question that because there's facts coming out right now that show that this agenda is in place because of what the state of Michigan has done in leveraging their money. So, you know, when you vote on these things, this is fraud. And there's no time limitation on fraud. I want you to think about that.
Okay. Alright, we had a motion to leave the millage rate at the same, or millage at the same. Current rate. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? All opposed?
I'm opposed.
Great.
I'm opposed.
Great. Have we stolen public comment?
Yeah.
Public comment. Great. Anybody else on public
Well,
comment?
do we know what our millage rate is?
I can go get it, it's 0.49, I think.
Could I ask, what is the yearly operating cost for the township? What's that number?
It's
300 and some thousand?
Yeah, they're preliminary, the bottom. Well, I assume you balance the budget. So 350,000?
So Susan's got through,
Which is the,
she got listed here through February, so we're not through March yet.
So are you guys doing the budget for next year or just reconciling the 2020?
Our budget for
The next one, isn't it?
25, 26.
So it shouldn't matter what's come in and what's come in, you guys are setting the budget for next year. There should be no way for it to come in other than to potentially change your budget.
How did you perform the budget last year?
How
Our rate is at 0.8746. Point 8746.
I can tell you in 23, 24, it was 314, 314,367. And maybe that would go in total, but then you don't know if you got a balanced budget or not.
Alright. You wanna know, what do you want?
How did you perform the budget last year?
That's what we went over the preliminary, but
He's asking about last year's, so.
So
This
I heard everything went up, so you must have overspent your budget.
no, we didn't. Our revenues were up. We had, on set taxes, we gained 4,000. We lost on property tax administration fee.
So you spent less. You spent less than what was budgeted.
No, because the budget was set at, the budget was set at 29,251.14, we collected 28,717.
So you
So the
you didn't
proposed,
use-
so the proposed preliminary
Right.
is 25,441.67. We gained in revenues by over 45,000 just on interest and dividends.
So I think Ken's asking for net.
Yeah, what's
So
the
that's your actual out here.
No,
No, it's not.
no, this does not give us the audit.
Are you using the old software to do your budget? Or did you put in?
We never got the SNA. We never did.
Oh, you
the
never
new
got
software.
this
No, because it doesn't, we don't have the bandwidth here. So no, we didn't get that. So we are still on the old system applying that.
So that saves money then, by not buying any software.
Well, it really didn't because we would have better information to give you, you know, the people of the county if we had more in-depth, but we don't have the bandwidth here to do it.
But you can run the reports out of Harry, correct, the old software. I don't know too many times, because I'm looking at the ones that are passed in when I hand it out.
We're still on content.
Content. You just gotta change, try a couple of different reports, like the one I'm looking at, it's got the 2022-23 budget, the 2022 actual. Budget difference.
That's what we're working on.
Well, then you should be able to tell them net total revenues and whether you balance to your expenditures.
Well, but we've added things in, so I don't have a total and they don't have my adding machine, I can go by your
But that's what I'm
section.
saying, you're not driving the right report. Quantum does that for you, it's all in there, I can show you what it looks like.
They give you a preliminary amount, yes.
There's another report you can pull, Susie.
Well, I'm sorry,
So from what
but
you
I
guys
was
are,
what, not,
so what you guys are looking at, you can't see what your total revenues are and what your total
not until it
expenditures.
all totals, not until we actually get it in.
What do you mean get it in? This is.
The changes. I mean, we've got 46,000 alone that we added into revenues.
I get that.
Okay.
That's closing out last year's budget. You guys are supposed to be working on next year's budget, in which you input those
And
numbers.
we're going to increase it by that amount.
So that's
So
not.
that's not in the total, it's a preliminary budget worksheet.
Right.
It's the same as what we did last year.
I don't know, it's not in here, but either way. Either way, do you guys have a budget balance with this proposal that you voted on today? Can you tell by looking at your report?
Well, we know that on here, the original, with what the preliminary, what the computer tells you you should be doing for that, $328,324.02. Our actual from last year was $374,840.07.
So that increased 50,000? Is that expenditures?
No, that's revenues.
That's revenue.
That's
50,000
revenues.
from last year. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're at what, 428 something? Expected?
Yes. But we have reduced, we took $20,220 off because there is no wind tax anymore. Wind farm revenue. So that'll go off. That's me.
I only care about the net, because we'll look at the numbers when you get it available to us. Net, how much did it go up net this year on revenue expected? I should say, next year expected revenue is expected to go up by what? Go up to what?
It will go up by probably an additional 53,000. Because that is what we're gonna be getting on, with the CDs and all that. We'll correct it so it shows the actual.
But if you guys don't see those totals today, how are you voting on a budget? How are you making a decision?
This is
if you're voting on
preliminary.
the same?
This
What's
isn't
that?
the-
I understand it's preliminary.
So it's not actually
So-
voted on, because it's not really the budgets that we're voting on.
So what did you
It's
vote
a
on? You
preliminary.
voted on.
We voted on the change.
On the changes. Okay.
That's it.
But you still don't know if they've got balance today, based on what you voted on.
It'll balance.
It'd be better than it was before,
How's that?
because you're not doing it.
Oh, is that it, Randy? Wow.
Wow.
Let's keep it nice and respectful, Randy.
I want a public comment yet. What we've seen here today is just mind-blowing to me. I wish the public would start paying attention. You guys have come very ill-prepared for this meeting, it seems. Last-minute changes, special meeting, putting in resolutions for raises. As the prior public said, we don't think you work for the public. That was your main thing you said when you took office. And I was thinking earlier today on the recall, and that's going back a ways, I understand, but Randy said to me he didn't like how I was doing things. That's why he wanted me out. Never, unless it was in a meeting, which the public had opportunity to hear, never was anything said to me outside of a meeting that as a trustee, that he didn't like the way the job the supervisor was doing. You guys worked behind our backs to change, talking to the county in deciding to get a new tabulator, and then recalled me in particular for voting against getting a new tabulator. A ridiculous recall. Lots of lies told in that recall. None of the public has ever come to me. This township is flat pathetic, in my opinion.
Great. Any more public comment?
Are you taking comments on anything, or does it have to be budget related?
Apparently, anything.
Well, this is a simple thing. I had mentioned at a previous meeting something about the publication of the meeting minutes based on the taxable value threshold. Has anybody checked into that to find out if we're supposed to be doing that? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No.
Well, at one time, it was, if you had a taxable value of so much, you needed to publish the meetings of the board meetings. But over time, that threshold has gone up. And I'm just wondering if you're required to publish meeting minutes based on that. Doesn't ring a bell. Well, I guess I'll bring it at the